Good now on BBC One for a glorious afternoon's racing, and it's introduced by Julian Wilson.
Hello and welcome to day 4 at Glorious Goodwood. Glorious certainly for the race goers, glorious too for the punters on Wednesday, but not so glorious for the top jockeys. 4 riders have been injured in the past 48 hours, most recently Lester Piggott in that dramatic fall in the 6th race yesterday evening. It was a drama that happened in a split second. Lester Piggott won from the left, his horse with the white face, on the heels of the leaders, poised with a winning chance. When this happened, the saddle slipped right round. Lester left cartwheeling on firm ground at 40 miles an hour. Happily, he wasn't kicked by another horse. Well, the emergency services were on the scene with exceptional speed. Lester was given oxygen, lifted into the course ambulance. Within minutes, he was transferred to Goodwood's medical centre. This was the offending saddle, nothing wrong with the tack, but there was concern as Lester was moved to Chichester Hospital. However, he discharged himself yesterday evening and travelled home typically early this morning. And Lester being Lester, he plans to ride within 7 days at the end of his compulsory suspension for mild concussion. Well, more of that story after our first race today. Well, now it's Spitfire day today, and the Spitfires have already been in the air. We've enjoyed yet another magnificent exhibition of aerobatics. Today's flying was by Rick Roberts in his personal Spitfire, flown down from Denham this morning. The spirit of wartime Britain lives on. All of which is to do with the big race of the day, the Eurolink Spitfire Handicap, worth over £32,000 to the winner. That's at 3:10. The supporting races at 2:30, the Molecombe, 3:45, the Schroeder's Glorious Rated Stakes, and on BBC Two at 4:15, the Seaboard Rated Handicap. And there are 5 non-runners this afternoon. In the 3:45, number 9, Moon Carnival's an absentee. 2 non-runners in the 4:15, number 4, Arn Gent, and number 5, Phil's Time. There'll be deductions from anti-post bets. And from the 5:20, we are missing number 2, Blue Bomber, and at number 12, It Must Be Millie. And after 21 races, this is the state of play in the Ritz Club Charity Trophy. Frankie Dettori and Pat Edery share the lead with 3. There are 4 riders on 2, Michael Hills, Richard Quinn, John Reed and Walter Swinburne, so there's all to play for. And Paul Edery, by the way, replaces Lester Piggott on Mac the Knife in the 3:45. Well, the going has inevitably got faster as the week's gone on. We haven't had any rain since Monday. It's officially firm, good to firm in places in the straight. But today the inside rails have been moved back by 5 yards to provide fresh ground on the straight course. That's the inside rail on the right as we look at them. Well, not such a great day for punters yesterday, I'm afraid, and there's a definite feeling of hangover this morning. That might be not unconnected with the Tiffany Goodwood ball last night, where Graham Rock was one who was dancing to the early hours. Graham, I suspect you missed the 13-2 about Country Lad in the big race today.
I wasn't up as early as I might have been this morning, Julian, I'm afraid, no. But Country Lover has certainly been one of the best backed horses of the afternoon in the Spitfire race, 13-2 early. As you can see now, 11-2, the very best price you can get, and generally 5-1 in places. There's money for Latam, 18-7, and there's also been very good each way money for Ragsat Alamore. That 10-1 still about, you can get it, but I've seen a 20,000-2 each way, very clearly fancied for this competitive race.
The 3:45.
Yes, and we've got a non-runner here. These are the best prices available after the when the market was reformed. Wide open, considering that field, only 8 runners there. Glide Path will be the best backed of those this morning.
And the 4:15, where we've got two non-runners.
Yes, and again, best of the revised prices. 7-4 Boldgate, 5-2 Transom, Victor Chandler 9,000 to 4. That 5-2 is with Hills. 5 Well Beloved, 7 Duke of Warsaw, 9-1 Silencing Court.
But the heavy mob got involved in the first race.
Yes, indeed, one of the best betting races of the day, the Molecombe Stakes. Shamanic's been very easy all day, 3-1 out to 7-2. Brave Music 7-2 into 3-1, good money for that. Home Magic was probably the gamble of the day, 7-4 early, didn't last very long. People were up and about nicking that, and it was all prices down to 11-10.
Well, here is Home Magic, the best backed horse of the day. Filly about whom Michael Bell is very confident indeed, and it'll be interesting to see what the best price proves to be on the course. Let's now check the full list of runners and riders for the Molecombe Stakes with Peter O'Sullivan.
Number 1 is Brave Music, ridden by Richard Quinn. 2, Great Bear, John Reed. 3, Shamanic, Pat Edery. 4, Home Magic, Michael Hills. 5, Katia, Frankie Dettori. 6, Lock, John Carroll. And 7, Regida, ridden by Jimmy Heffernan, having his first ride in at Goodwood.
And Home Magic, having drifted out to 11-8, is back to 11-10 clear favourite. Brave Music out to 3-1 from 5-2. Shamanic drifting all the while now, 7-2 out to 5-1. Then it's 14-1 Great Bear, 16-1 Regida, 33-1 Katia, and 40-1 Lock.
So the filly's favourite, but Paul Cole was the trainer of the day yesterday, and this colt, Brave Music, gives him the chance of yet another group race success. He's very quick, and he won in good style at Royal Ascot.
And very, very wide open at the moment. Coming there over on the far side is Brave Music, with also making a run T-Service. They're coming down now towards the furlong pole. Brave Music over on the far side, just about the overall leader, with Hinton Rock coming there very strongly to challenge, and Royal Garb also, but it's Brave Music from Royal Garb and T-Service as they race up towards the line. Brave Music is going to win this. Brave Music, Richard Quinn wins his 4th race.
Well, like Tree Pecan, he's had a touch of sore shins since Ascot, but he's back in good form today and has an obvious chance of turning over the favourite. Well, this is a race which used to be confined to fillies until recent years. Today there are 3 colts and 4 fillies. One of the 4 fillies comes from Ireland. That is Regida, who races in the colours of Niall Quinn. We'll catch up with her in a second, but she's been racing in top class in Ireland.
It's Millstream from Regida, with Sharpers in Mind not making much impression at this stage. They're racing now towards the final furlong, and it's Millstream. Regida trying to throw down a challenge on the near side. They've gone right away from Sharpers in Mind, but Millstream's out in front from Regida as they race into the closing stages. Millstream's going to make it all in the Curragh Stakes, and up to the line, hands and heels. Frankie Dettori goes away to win it. Millstream by 2.5 lengths or so.
No disgrace for Regida to be beaten by Millstream, a very high-class filly indeed. So this is a real sporting challenge today by a sporting partnership, spearheaded, as I say, by the former Manchester City and Republic of Ireland striker Niall Quinn. Good luck to them. Jim Bolger's the trainer. Let's now join Jim McGrath and Jimmy Lindley.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And the runners now coming out onto the course for the first event, the Molecombe Stakes, which promises to be a real speed battle, this. We've got some really fast juveniles engaged here. Home Magic, who really looked good when she won at Sandown last time. Shamanic, who can show plenty of early speed. Lock, and of course Brave Music, who probably will sit behind them in the early stages. Jimmy, we're just watching Regida go down to post. The Irish challenge here, trained by Jim Bolger, and wasn't disgraced at all with her second behind Millstream at the Curragh last time.
No, she held on well all the way to the line, Jim. She's a nice filly, this, but just watch her for a few strides. As you see there, she flips over the ground like a filly that's going to appreciate this fast ground here at Goodwood. And as you say, she did nothing wrong. In fact, she went on to beat Petite Fantasy at Tipperary afterwards. and a nice filly with a lot of speed, as you say. I think we're in for a great thrill here. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they come back in a very fast time.
Well, as Regida goes down to post, let's check the betting now with Graham Rock.
Now down to even money from 11 to 8. Brave Music back out to 3 to 1. Shamanic 5 to 1 from 7 to 2. A little bit of money for Great Bear, 14 to 1 into 10 to 1. 16 to 1, bar those.
And runners just about at the post for this first event. There's Ho Magic, the favourite. She's been back for a lot of money and a lot of stable confidence behind this filly by Cadeau Genereux. She ran a very good third, I thought, in the Queen Mary at Royal Ascot, then came out to win at Sandown. And there have been a few reports last night and early this morning about the relative merits of both Ho Magic and Brave Music. Their respective stables both confident. Just before coming on air, Michael Bell was telling me that this filly has really gone on since Sandown. She's been working at home with Princess Oberon, who's an older filly and a very fast one, and she has been acquitting herself very, very well against her. In fact, she's been beating her in those home gallops. So that's a good pointer to the chances of Ho Magic.
That Queen Mary form, I think, is some of the strongest about this year, Jim. This is a lovely filly too. She's in fact bigger than all the colts in the race, 3 colts, but I would say that this filly is bigger than most of them. She's a nice filly, professes a lot of speed, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if she doesn't give the Michael Hills a very easy ride here today. I really do love her.
Well, speaking of speedsters, here's another one, number 3, Shamanic, Pat Edry riding, trained by Richard Hannon, and a colt by Fairy King. Respectable second in the Norfolk Stakes at Ascot, but then went to Maison Lafitte and carried a fair bit of confidence there. They thought that he would go well. In fact, he was up there until about the 2 furlong marker and then faded out of the picture. Just wonder, Jimmy, whether in fact he does get a strong 6 furlongs. In fact, I'd say coming back to the 5, he's probably going to be better suited today.
He is. The Prix Robert Papin is one of France's biggest 2-year-old races. Then they go on to the Mornay later on. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if this horse didn't travel, Jim. He went across to France to Maison Lafitte, and I don't think that's his form. I don't think he'd have won at 4.5 that day.
And as these 2-year-olds are being loaded up, there's Brave Music, winner of the Windsor Castle, proving the Haydock form a little bit below par. But as they move forward now, let's join our commentator today, Peter O'Sullivan.
This is a race that Lester Piggott won 8 times. I was talking to Lester a moment ago, and he sends his thanks to those who've sent him get well messages. There's no doubt if he hadn't received the obligatory 6 days for concussion, he'd have been riding this weekend, and there's no doubt he'll be riding the following weekend. He said he feels pretty good after that horrendous fall. This is Katia going into stall 4, hopefully. And there'll be 1 to go. That's Shamanic nearest to us. Then the Irish filly Regida, and this is John Reed on Great Bear. Lady Rothschild's colours incorrectly made up there, should have chevrons. That's it. They're all in, and they're away. Fast break towards the right by Locke, and Locke being joined by Brave Music. Locke from Brave Music, the Irish filly in the centre of the course, running well. Regida just in behind. Regida is the favourite. Ho Magic. It's Locke on the right, Brave Music. Next out from the fence is Regida, then comes Ho Magic. Ho Magic towards the left, disputing it with Regida. Brave Music on the near side. Regida with the advantage at the 2 furlong pole. Regida from Ho Magic. Locke on the inside. Brave Music trying to get into it. It's Regida for Ireland, being challenged now by Ho Magic on the far side. Ho Magic, the Queen Mary winner, now getting the better of Regida as they race into the closing stages. Ho Magic going to land a gamble here. Ho Magic striding away to win this very well indeed. Ho Magic is the winner. Regida is just second ahead of Brave Music and Great Bear, who are in a photo for third, but Ho Magic a very impressive winner here of the Moulcombe Stakes. This filly who won the Queen Mary got down to her job in very workmanlike style in the closing stages. The result, third in the Queen Mary, I should say. The result here of the Moulcombe, first number 4, Home Magic, owned by Mr. D.F. Allport, trained by Michael Bell and ridden by Michael Hill. Second was number 7, and a good run too by the Irish filly Regida, owned by Mr. Niall Quinn, trained by Jim Bulger and ridden by James Heffernan. And it's a photo for third between Brave Music number 1 and Great Bear number 2. But Home Magic enables Michael Hills to join Pat Edery and Frankie Dettori on the 3-winner mark in the Ritz Club Charity Trophy.
Michael Bell's been exuding confidence all week about this filly, and it was justified. There she is on the length of the long-time leader, Regida. Michael Hill's just waiting for the moment to go. But Regida showed terrific speed. Brave Music towards this side. Right under the rails was Clock, who led till halfway. And now the Irish rider says go on Regida, and pretty quickly picks up his stick and gives her 3 or 4 fairly sharp smacks. But Michael Hills has got him covered and is quite happy. The Irish filly is still in front at this stage. Lock on the rails, just coming under pressure, can't find any more, but very fast for 4 furlongs, this filly. And now Michael Hills, rather, I should say, changes his hands, comes to challenge, and goes to win the race. Regida runs on extremely well and manages to hold off the challenge of those competing for 3rd place. A Great Bear towards the stand side, Great Bear and Brave Music, I should say, towards the stand side. Great Bear is the one on the outside with the yellow cap who runs on from the back, but without getting in a blow. But in the end, the fillies won by a good 4 lengths. Those who got 7-4 this morning will be well pleased with themselves. Regida is 2nd for Niall Quinn and his partners, and it's Brave Music who finishes 3rd in the photo. Well, this was plain sailing for Michael Hills. This filly is very, very fast indeed. The only blot on her copybook, the Queen Mary, but that was a tough race to win. And today she's come through bouncing off this fast ground, and it is fast ground. It'll be interesting to hear the time here. Meanwhile, Regida, 2nd to Millstream, 2nd again. But what a lot of fun the partnership of Niall Quinn, Peter Reid, and a couple of other friends are having with this Irish filly.
Home Magic by Cadeau Genereux out of Gunner's Bell by Gunner B puts Michael Hills on the 60 winner mark and rounds up the score for Michael Bell, number 40 for him this season. Winner now of 3 of her 4 races, this filly. The evens favourite for the Moulcombe Stakes, a race that was first run back in 1833, and from 1932 to 1980 it was for fillies only. Opened for the first time in 81 to both sexes. So Pat Edery, Frankie Dettori and Michael Hills share the lead now in a very close fought Ritz Club Charity Trophy. Close 3rd she was in the Queen Mary behind Gay Galanta and myself.
And so Home Magic coming back into the Winners of Oval to a really well-deserved welcome.
Michael Bell's confidence very, very well founded there.
Shows her rivals a really superb turn of foot. Many congratulations to her and her connections. This daughter of Cadeau Genereux is owned by Mr. D.F. Allport and Mr.
We'll be seeing her in the winner's circle again.
It was Michael Bell's 40th training success of the season.
Her grandsire, Gunner B, a very game horse that many of you will remember.
For the season, and it puts him on now to the 3rd winner mark, and it puts him up right up there with the leaders for the Ritz Club Trophy. Home Magic, bred by Woodbury Manor Stud.
Good run by the Irish challenger, the Irish filly. She earned over 6,000 for her 2nd prize. And here now the successful trainer with Jonathan Powell.
Yes, with me, Michael Bell. We're just admiring Hoy Magic. Michael, she really is a fine big filly for a 2-year-old.
Yeah, she's when she arrived in the spring or in the late autumn last year, she didn't look like a 2-year-old at all. She's a great big gangly thing when we were cantering her, we were breaking her. And then in the early spring, she just started to show a bit, and we knew, I suppose, by the beginning of April that she was pretty special.
But my goodness, she looked very special today. There was blistering early pace. Michael Hills was quite happy to sit in and wait, wasn't he?
Exactly. I mean, I just said to him the only thing, I didn't want him to get boxed in. You know, I just said you gave him no orders apart from don't get shut in, and he always saw plenty of daylight, and she really quickened from the distance. You know, very, very impressed with her.
And Regida, the Irish filly, looked like winning for a second here, but really, once you came to challenge, it was all over.
I mean, he said he didn't want to hit the front too soon because she idled a bit at Sandown the other day. But my God, when she hit the front, she showed him a clean pair of heels.
You would think that a great big filly like this on firm ground and undulating track might not be suited by those conditions.
But she's got, you're right. But you know, she's pretty good, and she's overcome the undulations and the firmish ground. But she broke the track record at Nottingham, the all-age track record at Nottingham, on very firm ground on her debut. So, although she has got a slightly roundish action, probably better on better ground, you know, I mean, good horses go on any ground, that's what they say, isn't it?
Seeing her win like this, you have to wonder how she didn't win at Royal Ascot.
Well, I think I might have been a little bit easy on her in between, thinking that she had a future. I may have left her a bit short, thinking that I didn't want to overcook her, and probably slightly underdid her. And, you know, we've got the trick to her now.
Well, Michael, you learned your trade with Paul Cole and Mercy Ryan, and you certainly had a wonderful run with your 2-year-olds this season. Did you set out to crack on with them once you started training?
Well, I think, you know, this type of horse we've got and the type of owner we've got, you know, they can't afford to sit to wait for 2 years before the horse runs. And basically, training racehorses is about running racehorses. And, you know, if they're ready to run, we run them, basically.
And this one will be running where next?
Almost certainly go for the Lowther. M. Hills says you could stick to 5. You know, we could consider taking on older horses, maybe, in the Abbey or something like that. But she, you know, I think the Lowther is probably the logical next step.
An exciting prospect for the autumn.
Thanks very much, Jonathan.
Thank you.
The starting prices: first number 4, Home Magic, even money favourite. The second number 7, Ragida, 16-1, and third number 1, Brave Music, 3-1, 7 rand. The 2:15 at Thirsk, first number 4, First Crush, 7-2 on favourite. Second number 3, Evan Elpis, 10-1, and third number 1, Spumante, also 10-1, 7 rand there too.
And the time for the first race, very fast, 57.75 seconds. We're now back to the drama in the first race yesterday, and although the fall came with just a furlong to run, it was quite clear from a very early stage of the race that Lester was in trouble. Jimmy, as Lester came out of the stalls, and he's right on the far rails there, on the right as we look now, you could see already that he was in trouble.
Just saw how the filly darted into the animal on our right, Julian. This is when the saddle might have started to move for the first time. It's nobody's fault, this. It's the way a lot of horses are made, and you can see Lester just had a little look down there, and he'll have another look down in a moment to see what is exactly happening. And by this time I would think the saddle is gradually sliding back down the filly's tail. You can see Richard Quinn, in fact, on one that's already slipped. He's just pulled up, and Lester by this time has got to commit himself. And Lester having the spirit and the determination. There you saw him have another look, and this determination that Lester, that's won him so many races. Lester thinks, I've got a chance here, I'm going to risk it. He knew very well that the saddle all the time was going back towards the filly's tail, as you can see. But Lester thought, this will be another winner for me, and he persevered right the way up until the horrible accident happened.
Well, it must be one of the worst feelings in the world, this, when you feel, I'm going.
It's an awful feeling, Julian. It happens so quickly, and there it happens. But just watch Lester now. Watch the reactions as his helmet comes off. We missed it. We'll see that again in a moment. But there you can see, this is a better picture of it. Lester, in fact, knows that the saddle now is going beyond recall. He goes down, he tries to get both feet out the irons, he does. Watch his reactions here as the helmet comes off and his hands go behind his head to protect him. This is a man that really thinks, and, well, you can see how he reacts in a race. Terrific, Julian, how he got out of that.
But Jimmy, why does a saddle slip? Is it always the girth?
Not always, Julian. As I say, very much it's how a racehorse is made. Some horses run up behind like that. Others have quite a nice belly on them, which holds the girth in place. This is a girth that most trainers use, and as you see here, it has a piece of elastic on the end of the buckle, which gives the horse time to breathe. Now, also here you have some sticky rubber as well, which does help. But when an animal is quite a narrow individual, then you have the breast girth, which goes around the horse's chest like this, as an extra girth, and you also have a breastplate. But it's an accident that happens. It happened to me twice, and you can't really blame anybody. You know.
Well, now, this is what happens when a trainer saddles a horse, and Jimmy, perhaps you can talk us through it. This is a filly, in fact.
Yeah, you can see Jack Berry here, who's a very seasoned man, as Richard Hannon was, and Taffy, his head lad, who saddled Lester's mount. It was not their fault at all. But there you can see Jack Berry. He's just doing up the main girth, of which I've just shown you, which goes on a tongue of leather just under the flap of the saddle. There you can see. Now, Jack, I'll pull this up, and his head lad, travelling head lad, is the other side, with his hand on top of the saddle, as you can see, to stop it going round. Now, some horses, some individuals blow out. Some blow out more than others, and that is taking a deep breath, and then they let it go when after you saddle them, and you think the girth is tight enough, and in fact, because they've blown out, then it's quite loose. This is why it's always checked again at the start. Now Jack Berry is putting on the surcingle. This is another girth which, in case the main girth snaps, which goes over the top of the saddle, will act as a safeguard.
That's right.
But you can see there, Jack knows his job back to front. He's a real seasoned campaigner, a real professional, as Richard Hannon. And there you can just see the finishing touches going on to the surcingle. He makes sure that everything is intact. He puts the leathers and irons across the top, the reins go behind that, and a job well done. Now this will be checked again when the jockey arrives to get on the horse, Julian. He'll feel it himself, and then when he gets down to the start, you have two of the loaders which are specialised in feeling the girth. They'll feel the girths to make sure that the horse is relaxed and has got rid of all the air inside him, and then by that time the girth should be all right. But some horses can actually, and I wouldn't be at all surprised that's what didn't happen to Lester, some can fool you. You think that they've actually stopped blowing out, and in fact they happen.
Yeah. So what happened here, do you think? Do you think the animal just dived out and just forced the saddle back?
Lester rides very short, and as you saw, when the horses left the gate, this is only what I'm summarising, when the horse left the gate, she did actually dive a little bit to the right. Now, whether that just shifted the saddle a tiny bit, and then the saddle starts to go backwards off the wither, and Lester knew this, and I tell you that man must be the bravest man if he'd been in a war he'd have won a BC, because 9 jockeys out of 10 would have pulled up then. But Lester knew that this filly had a great chance of winning, and he's persevered all the way, and he paid the penalty, but it's a horrible fall.
Well, now, the other worrying thing was the fact that his helmet came off. Now, why should it have come off, and should helmets come off?
Well, they shouldn't, Julian, but like everything, nothing's infallible. And this is the old-style helmet. This is the old-style fastener. Now, that is just an eye, which goes onto a clip here. Now, when
that's what he was wearing yesterday.
This is what he was wearing yesterday, because the new helmet, although it's out, they're finding it very hard to get hold of. Now, Lester's head hit the ground at the rate of knots, as you saw. Now, that can flick off like that, and I would say this is what's happened. The helmet then went away. But now they actually have brought in a new helmet, a new style helmet, which is far superior to absorb concussion. And also, it has a brand new clip, which is made out of a very strong material, but that can't come undone unless it's like a child's safety clip in their seat, unless it's done like that. So hence it's a much better helmet. The sooner they get them for the jockeys, the better, and well, it's an improvement.
Well, Jimmy, many people were saying last night, why does he go on? He's 58 years old. Why on earth did he take these risks with his life?
Lester has given the racing world, Julian, a lot of pleasure, and he's dedicated his life to it. And now it's time Lester enjoyed himself, and he enjoys himself riding. So, and he says, for me, he's as good as ever. He might not be able to ride and push a horse perhaps as long as he could, but his judgment is there. His brain is needle clear, as you saw when he got his hands behind his head. He thinks quicker than a lot of our younger jockeys, and I hope he goes on for a long time.
I think the first thing he says is it'll win next time.
Absolutely.
Jimmy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jimmy Lindley, and Lester Piggott, of course, is still the man who puts racing on the front page. We saw that this morning. This is how Fleet Street reacted to his remarkable escape. Every single Fleet Street newspaper made this a lead front page story. The incredible, indestructible Lester Piggott He's been riding winners here now for 44 years at Goodwood, would you believe? He's part of the history of the racecourse. He's ridden 196 winners here in all. And, well, that leads us back to part 4 of Graham Rock's historical reflections.
Goodwood is racing's garden party, and although the Queen has not attended regularly since the 60s, it remains one of the most important events in the social calendar. It's relaxed, informal, and a popular finale to the traditional season. Towards the end of the 19th century, attendance was all but obligatory for the cream of society. David Nicholson is the archivist at Goodwood.
This painting documents exactly what you were saying. It's an afternoon at the July race meeting in 1886, and the whole world is there. In the centre you see the Prince of Wales, future Edward VII. Next to him his son, who died engaged to Princess Mary of Teck, and the future George V then had to marry Princess Mary of Teck. I don't know what she thought about it. Below the Prince of Wales, you see Gilbert and Sullivan. Other people in the picture, a little to the left, the Duke of Richmond bending down to help Lady Lucian Gore up the bank. In the balcony, you can see the 3 ladies in white. They are the daughters of the Prince of Wales, and they were known as the Ugly Ducklings. We have a key. It's not very legible, but it identifies some 90 people, and it is the whole social world.
Throughout the London season, debutantes attended a series of balls and parties. Ursula Wyndham was presented at court in 1931.
You went in, your name was called, and you curtsied to the king and took a sideways step, and hopefully not falling over, you curtsied again to the Queen. The king just sat there looking like this and obviously wishing it was over. The Queen was much kinder and smiled, and you then walked off and went home. Could anything be more tedious?
Meeting the same group of tongue-tied young men brought its own problems. As a resourceful 18-year-old, Miss Wyndham found a novel solution.
I went with a cousin on a windjammer on his way home from Australia. It called it Belfast. I got on board with the quaint idea that she and I would be the only passengers. There were in fact 10 others. And we went in ballast to Finland, purely in order to find something to talk about when one came home and went to parties.
And we'll be turning the focus on last night's Tiffany Goodwood Ball a little bit later in the programme. We're now back to the first race of the afternoon, the great run by the Irish challenger Ragida. Peter Reid, one of the part owners, has been talking to Jonathan Powell of the Sunday Express.
Yes, with me standing in the position for the owner of the second Ragida is none other than Peter Reid. Very famous face from the football. Peter, is this your first racehorse?
Thank you. Yes, really, I've had slight interest early on, a couple of years ago, but this is the first real go, as they say.
With some of your old chums from Manchester City, Niall Quinn and Sam Ellis and one or two others?
Yeah, Jim Bolger kindly give us an opportunity to get involved and to have a run at Goodwood. A prestige meeting like this, I'm delighted, and for it to run so well.
There must have been a moment, Peter, halfway through the race you thought she was going to win.
I think the connections of the winner fancied her strongly, and we were just pleased that we got a place really. But yeah, she ran ever so well, and a furlong and a half out. I just had a slight feeling that, but the winner run ever so well and deserved it. Yeah.
One of your old mates, Mick Shannon, had a runner in the race as well. He's doing rather well as a trainer now.
It's a real footballer. Yeah, he's been very successful, and it's good luck to him. And he was a successful footballer, and now a trainer of racehorses.
Peter, have you always followed racing?
I think if you ask most people who come from Liverpool, it's football and then horse racing. So yeah.
What about the football side? Because we last saw you really in public as Manchester City's player-manager. You left there, towards the end of last season. Are you still hoping to get another job as a player-manager?
Well, just to put you straight, Jonathan, it was at the beginning of the season after 4 games, but football's like that. It's a precarious occupation. I just hope I can get in the game as soon as possible, but I'm just enjoying coming racing at the moment.
And yesterday we saw the great jockey Lester Piggott at the age of 58 had a nasty fall. He wants to ride tomorrow. He's very upset that he stood down for 7 days. He could probably give you 25 years, 35 years. So is there life in the old dog?
Yeah, I could still play, but it gives me an opportunity to say I hope the master gets well, and he's a legend. I'm just a hack. Let's put it that way. I just enjoy playing, and if there's a game to play, I'll play football. Yeah.
You're very fit.
I'm not bad.
Peter Reid there. Well, one bit of bad news for that team. I'm afraid James Heffernan, the rider of Regida, has received a 2-day suspension for improper use of the whip. We're now back to yesterday evening, and after you left us, it wasn't just the drama of the 6th race. There was some other thoroughly provocative racing, starting with the Kinrara handicap with a field of 19. Now, Indian Fly was a warm favourite here to complement his recent Sandown success, and 2 furlongs out, his supporters were just counting their money.
And they're coming down the straight now with 3 furlongs to race, and it's Dancing Lawyer who's come through to take it up from Istinsar, Istib Shah, then comes Rambold and Devotee, and towards the outside Indian Fly making good headway, the favourite. Furlong and a half to go, and Indian Fly and Pat Edry have come through to take it up. Then Tom Morgan's running on, so's Hessel Street, and Ale Serrano finishing fastest of all on the wide outside. It's Indian Fly with Ale Serrano cutting him down with every stride, and Ale Serrano is getting up. Ale Serrano and Mick Kinnaird have got up to beat Indian Fly, then Devotee and Hessel Street.
Michael Kinnaird coming late and very, very fast, and gaining a very satisfying revenge over Pat Edry for his defeat in the Sussex Stakes. Well, around 6 o'clock came the last race of the day, the Drawing Room Stakes, and this proved to be a fine triumph for the North.
And they've got over 3 furlongs to race. Cindy Starr, the leader from Chairman's Choice. Here comes Maulai, Hatter Sunshine, then Diggers Well, Kelly Mack. On the outside, Coureur is running on. Then comes Benfleet, and now Hatter Sunshine and Coureur come to take on the leader with 2 furlongs to race. Coureur on the outside has taken it up. Coureur's gone clear now, with Schoof coming from a long way back, then Diplomatist, then Hatter Sunshine, and Bentico is running on but too late, and Coureur tying up now and challenged by Diplomatist and Schoof, and here comes Benfleet very late, but Coureur is holding on. Coureur holds on to win by a length and a half. Schoof might have got up to beat Diplomatist for second, and back in 4th is Benfleet.
Nice winner there for trainer James Bethel, who now trains up at Middleton. Really changed his luck. Well, we've had some real surprise news about a leading trainer today, because Gavin Pritchard-Gordon has announced his retirement from training this morning. Gavin's greatest success was with No Alcoholic in the 1983 Sussex Stakes here. He's due to be married this autumn. He's announced his retirement from his stables in Newmarket at Trillium Place, and he'll be a great loss to his many owners over recent years, amongst whom I may say I have been included. Really shock news and very sad news. But he has 2 sons in Paddy and Rupert to continue the family tradition in due time. We're now on to our big race of the day. It's the Eurolink Spitfire Handicap. Runners and riders for that come from Peter O'Sullivan.
It's the 33rd running of this handicap, but the first under its current Eurolink sponsorship. And number 1 is Old Hickory, written by Frankie Dettori. 2 Backgammon, Willie Rahn. 3 Jazeel, Richard White, and Jazeel, Richard Hills, I should say, and Jazeel carrying the second colours of Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum, the first colours carried by Latam. Number 4 is Little Sister, and happy returns to her owner, Lord Weinstock, who's 70 today. Little Sister, written by Walter Swinburne. 5 is Frustration, written by David Harrison. 6, Ragsat Al Omar, written by Philip Robinson. 7, Country Lover, Michael Roberts. 8, Danger Point, with Richard Quinn, putting up 1 pound overweight. 9 is Latam, Willie Carson, who's won this 4 times, incidentally. And 10 is Lunar Mission, with Jason Tate putting up 1 pound over on this one.
And favourite here is Frustration, out to 4-1 from 7-2. Then 5 Old Hickory, 5 Country Lover, 7-1 Backgammon, easing out from 6. Latam drifting all the while, 13-2, out to 8-1. Ragsat Alamore, remember 10-1 this morning, now 8-1. Danger Point is 11, then Lunar Mission 12, Little Sister 16 to 1 from 20, and the outsider Jazeel 33 to 1.
And here is the favourite, Frustration, out of David Harrison this afternoon. Lady Herries training this, and Frustration, I do fear, is in danger of having the handicapper just nip her in the bud here. She's gone up quite dramatically in the handicap since her the first of 3 successive wins. That was 3 starts ago. She was running off 66, a mark of 66. She's now running today off 88. She's gone up 22 pound in the handicap, and £9 for her last start win at Kempton. The big question, Jimmy, is has the handicapper actually got hold of her now?
I wonder, Jim. She's a lovely filly, though. I think she's on the upgrade, so she might just still be ahead of him. 3 wins. Well, the first one was here at Goodwood, in fact. She went on to win at Newbury and then at Kempton, and each win she's had a little bit up her sleeve. But a lovely filly. She's walking around there nice and settled. She's well in her coat, and she's really turned into one of her top trainers, Lady Herries.
Here's number 1, Old Hickory, trained by Luca Kamani, who, of course, back in the 80s used to farm this race. In fact, he won it 3 times in successive seasons, 84 with Free Guest, 85 with Fish and Chips, and 86 with Chinoiserie. He hasn't won it since then, since Chinoiserie, but Old Hickory, an improving type of handicapper, who last time ran at Newmarket, ran off a mark of 101, up 2 pounds since then. Going back to York, I thought his win 2 starts ago was pretty good. Shortfall was very well fancied that day, and Old Hickory just kept pulling out a little bit more in the run to the line.
Frankie Dettori just popped into the saddle. Frankie, joint leader in the Ritz Club Trophy for the most winners on the 3 mark. But what a lovely individual this is, Baycock by Alzeo. And as you were saying, Jimmy's an improving type of horse, this. In fact, when he won at Beverley, he made all, but his run since, they've been giving him quite a lot of chance in his race, so I think we'll see Frankie Dettori just biding his time early.
Yes, this is an intriguing handicap, the first of 3 coming up on BBC this afternoon. Real challenge for punters. There in the centre of the screen is number 7, Country Lover, and this is my idea of a horse who'll go very, very close to the money here today. As Graham Rock was saying earlier, there's been a lot of interest this morning in Country Lover, who's now 9 to 2 from 5 to 1, and the right money has come for this horse, so 13 to 2 available earlier today. Carrying the colours of Sir Gordon Brunton, who's already had a winner this week, and Prince of India, who won first time of asking for him. And Country Lover, I do like this horse a lot. Well placed by William Huntingdon, won on the all-weather at Southwell, ran in the Britannia and didn't run a bad race at all when 12th to Wizard King, and then came out to win at Salisbury off a mark of 81. Reasonably treated off 85, could go well. Let's see how Country Lover figures in the betting now.
Frustration still favourite, but the money's coming for Country Lover. Remember, 13 to 2 this morning, now down to 9 to 2 second favourite. Old Hickory easing out to 11 to 2, 7 to 1 Backgammon, 15 to 2 Latam, 15 to 2 Ragsat Almore, clipped in again from 8 to 1. 10 to 1 Lunar Mission from 12, 11 to 1 Danger Point, 16 Little Sister, and 33 to 1 Jazeel.
Now one of them's gone down early, number 4, Little Sister, one bred by the Ballymacole stud in Ireland, and carrying the very familiar Winestock colours. A filly they think pretty highly of, Little Sister. She did run a good race at York about 3 starts ago. She won at Haydock, and then she went to Ascot, and unfortunately she was at the back of the field when that Spectator ran out onto the course and caused Papago and Michael Cannan to bite the dust, and she was almost brought down as well. Frankie Dettori was able to take evasive action very, very late, but she was at the back of the field and tailed right off. She was beaten actually 51 lengths, so obviously something amiss that day. That was good to firm. I'm just wondering about how she'll go here, Jimmy.
She gets up a little bit on her toes, this filly, hence that Walter Swinburne has taken her down to the start quite a long way in front of the other runners, and she's a little bit on the keen side, but she's a nice filly, and I wouldn't take any notice of that Ribblesdale form, I don't think. The other thing too, I'm just wondering whether a mile and a half wouldn't be a little bit too far for her. She's back to the mile and a quarter today, which is going to suit her. But her chance had gone, actually, I think, when that race girl ran out in front of them. And I think more that the quarter of a mile, the extra quarter of a mile that day might just have seen out her stamina. But she's nicely settled today. She was a little bit more upset at Ascot. Have a look at the betting.
And now joint favourites as the money comes for Country Lover, still pouring on. 4 to 1 each of 2, Frustration and Country Lover. 11 to 2 Old Hickory, 7 to 1 Bar.
Going down there, Backgammon in the Star Jacket, number 2, trained by Henry Cecil, Willie Ryan aboard today. Backgammon, I think, just biting off a little bit too much here. One at Bath and then one at Leicester. A few people were querying whether he was actually genuine after his Leicester win, but he hung pretty badly right on that occasion. But there he is going to post now, Backgammon. This will be a bit of a test for him today.
Willie Ryan in the saddle. Willie, a first jockey for Henry Cecil, and Henry's kept Backgammon a little bit at the second division, but he's up in the first division now, and I've heard reports from the home gallops that he's well capable of holding his own against this opposition.
There's number 9, Latam, in the colours of Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum. He's got 2 of them in here, and Jazeel will carry the distinguishing green cap. You can just see it there in the background. But Latam, a very interesting runner and pretty hard to weigh up, because he was used as a pacemaker for Erhab in the Coral Eclipse at Sandown. Prior to that, he didn't run a bad race at all when 5th to Midnight Legend in the King George V Handicap at Royal Ascot, and a horse that has won only 1 race from 9 starts. I've no doubt that he's got a lot of ability, this horse, Jimmy, and it always makes you wonder when they have been used as pacemakers, especially in top company, coming back to their own division. You just wonder whether it's just taken the edge off them.
It doesn't actually, Jim, because I rode several pacemakers when I was riding, and they usually bounce back and run good races afterwards. But because usually when their chances have gone, the jockeys don't persevere all that much. I mean, when they see that they can't finish in the first 3 or 4, and so they have, in many ways, a nice, easy race. But that wasn't a bad run in the Eclipse when you think about it. He finished 6th behind the winner, and he was only 12 lengths adrift, so I should think he's a pretty high-class handicapper. In fact, when you've got a pacemaker, he's just got to be that. He's got to be a pretty good one.
Well, when we were saying he was a pacemaker, of course, Bob's Return was actually heading him off in the early stages. Couldn't quite get there, but has run quite respectably. Latest betting now.
And a new favourite, Country Lover, 4 to 1. 92 Frustration, 5 Old Hickory, 7 Backgammon, 8 Ragsat Alamore and Latam, 11 Danger Point, 12 to 1 Lunar Mission, 16 to 1 Little Sister, and 33 to 1 Jazeel.
There's Ragsat Alamore, number 6, Philip Robinson riding for Michael Jarvis. And this horse has attracted quite significant support today. He won well for Mick Cannan. I thought it was a gem of a ride by Mick at Epsom when he won there off a mark of 83. He went to Sandown. He got lost in the ruck there, the most competitive 1.25 mile handicap of the season, the Royal Hong Kong Jockey Club Trophy. He finished 10th there. He was only beaten 6.5 lengths, and I think it's probably best to forget that run altogether. He comes in here only £1 higher off 88, so he's pretty well in, I think, Ragsat Alamore, and don't forget he beat Island of Silver earlier this season when winning at Epsom, so he might be one that could be particularly dangerous. Well, as he goes down to post, let's join Graham once again in the ring.
Down here in the ring, the action is fast and furious. Just behind me in that first race, we had an even £30,000 about the winner. In this race, I've seen a bet of 20,000 to 5 on the favourite Country Lover and an 11,000 to 2 Old Hickory. A wide open handicap. Bookmakers at the moment are just feeling it a bit down here. Let's hope they get a result. They certainly need one.
Well, I don't know whether they'll get too much sympathy from punters. There's number 10, Lunar Mission. James Eustace, the trainer of this one. Jason Tate riding. He rode a treble at Southall yesterday, so he's an in-form apprentice at the moment. He'll declare £1 over. He'll ride this at 7:11. Lunar Mission, and Lunar Mission ran a respectable race, went 3rd last time at Ascot. Prior to that, he'd won at Windsor, so he's certainly going the right way. Winner of 3 of his 15 starts.
He was trained by Mark Tompkins, in fact, and then was claimed out of his stable in June by his new connections for no less than £12,000. And he looks well worth it, actually. He's 12 to 1 from 10 to 1. I do agree with you, Jason Tate's a very good young £3 claimer. He's a very good rider. He's well worth watching. I think he's got a career in front of him. He's ridden 28 winners, in fact, this season, and that's no mean feat. Getting a little bit warm, Lunar Mission. It's number 10. He's going into stall 9.
As he walks around, let's check once again the betting in this fascinating handicap.
Yes, thank you, Jim. And Country Lover now down to 7 to 2 from 5 to 1 and 13 to 2 this morning. Frustration out to 5 to 1. Old Hickory just clipped back to 5 to 1 from 11 to 2. 7 to 1, bar those 3.
One of the big gambles of the meeting on Country Lover, but Danger Point, he's a different story entirely. Carrying the Fard Selman colours, he's certainly going to, I think, act on this very fast ground here today. But of late, he's not really been doing enough to suggest that he could worry them here.
He'll be suited by the fast ground, as you say. 1 or 2 of his runs have been a shade under par, but they've been when the ground's riding a little bit on the soft side. Richard Quinn is having one of his best seasons with 83 winners, and he's riding in great form. He's doing very well here today at Goodwood, or at the meeting, I should say.
Well, I remember Danger Point carrying the Fard Selman colours. Reminds me of Broken Hearted, who won this race in '87, and he was a very, very good winner of the race. I think a 7-length winner, and did it particularly well. There's our favourite there, Country Lover, a chestnut colt, a lovely shot of his head here. He's a colt by Thatching, and carries the colours of Sir Gordon Brunton, the chairman of the directors of the Racing Post, and bred by him at his little stud just outside Guildford.
This race is going to suit him, Jim. He's by far his best runs of when coming off a strong pace. He's going to have that today. Usually there's a pretty strong pace on this, and I thought he looked exceptionally well in the paddock. He's a credit to Lord Huntingdon.
Well, the distance, 1.25 miles, and once again we have to examine the route here, Jimmy, because they are on this occasion using the top bend. If they use the bottom bend, I think it develops into a 9-furlong race, but they go up high, and it must be an interesting course to ride.
That turn into the straight actually used to be a dilly, but now they've cambered it. But a few of the boys said on the first day when we had that shower that in fact they were moving a tiny bit on that turn, the horses, although it's been cambered quite a lot, and well, they shouldn't have too much trouble, but they were also slipping on the pull-up as well, so the ground was pretty firm, and when you get rain on firm ground, it's a job to make a horse not slip.
There's number 5, Frustration, once again. She's down at the start, arrived there comfortably, and now taken in hand by one of the handlers there. She's a filly by Sels, and for a horse who showed so much speed in his career at stud, he is able to produce his share of stayers. I think he had Captain Jack, who unfortunately was beaten in the Brown Jack handicap, but he can get a stayer or 2. Last few going forward. Let's join Peter.
Just Little Sister to go, and Jazeel. That's Little Sister nearest to us. Jazeel in the second colours of Sheikh Hamdan goes in. Just Little Sister to go. 7 to 2 the field, 7 to 2 Country Lover, 5 Frustration bidding with this 4-timer and Old Hickory, 7 Backgammon and Latam, 8 Ragsat Al Omar, 10 Lunar Mission, 11 Danger Point, 14 Little Sister, who's just gone in, 33 Jazeel, and that's it. And they're away. And going on in the early stages, Latam from Backgammon and Little Sister and Danger Point next, followed by Old Hickory. Some way behind the remainder at the moment, Lunar Mission, and closely grouped up front, Latam, Backgammon and Little Sister, then a gap to Danger Point and Old Hickory, and then Frustration. Then comes Ragsat Al Omar and Country Lover, and behind them Jazeel and Lunar Mission. Going A real gallop in this first running under Eurolink sponsorship, with Latam the leader under Willie Carson, who's won it 4 times already. Got about a 2-length advantage now over Backgammon, and then comes Little Sister, then Danger Point and Old Hickory, then Country Lover on the inside of Frustration, who's moving up now on his udder, running downhill, and as they do so, it's still Latam the leader from Backgammon. Behind Backgammon is Frustration, then Danger Point on the inside. Old Hickory is making good progress. Coming to the elbow now. And Latam still the leader from Backgammon in second. Then in third is Little Sister. Danger Point over on the far side, making a little bit of progress now, and behind the lead is Country Lover. Coming down towards the 2 furlong marker, Danger Point has taken it up now from Backgammon. Here comes Old Hickory on the outside. Country Lover looking for room now between horses, between Danger Point and Latam, and Frustration has taken it up. Frustration now the leader as they come down towards the furlong pole. It's Frustration from Country Lover over on the far side. Ragsat Aloma as they race into the closing stages. Frustration from Country Lover and Ragsat Aloma. Frustration is going to complete a 4-timer. Frustration has won it from Country Lover second. Ragsat Aloma was third, and 4 came Old Hickory, then Danger Point and Lunar Mission and Backgammon, and then Latam, and behind Latam with Jazeel. And last was Little Sister, and so the result of the Eurolink Spitfire Stakes is first, number 5, Frustration, owned by the Duchess of Norfolk, trained by her daughter Lady Herries, and ridden by David Harrison. Second was number 7, Country Lover, owned by Sir Gordon Brunton, trained by Lord Huntingdon and ridden by Michael Roberts. And third, number 6, Ragsat Al Omar, trained by Sheikh Ahmed Al Maktoum, owned by Sheikh Ahmed Al Maktoum, trained by Michael Jarvis and ridden by Philip Robinson, with fourth, number 1, Old Hickory. So Frustration completes a 4-timer in the Eurolink Spitfire Stakes.
Well, when a filly starts to improve, there's no telling how much they'll improve. David Harrison pulls her out here. He's on the wide outside, starts his run at the 3 furlong marker, and the filly's one of the first to come under pressure. Look to the inside and the noseband, and the favourite, Country Lover, not in a promising position at present, but eventually the split comes. Up front, it's still Danger Point from Latam, who's made the running, and the gap's just going to come for Country Lover and Michael Roberts here, and he bursts through. But meanwhile, David Harrison on the outside, who gets on so well with this filly, unbeaten in 4 rides, hits the front, and now it's just a question of whether Ragsat Alomore on the outside, ridden by Philip Robinson, can get to her and challenge. Country Lover, having got through, runs on at 1 pace, but she's nothing if not game, this filly. She's been in front long enough, she responds to pressure, and she battles on to the line. A real triumph of training for Lady Herries. There is a steward's inquiry. The filly, having drifted to the right, hasn't done anything wrong in my opinion. Ragsat Al Omar likewise on the outside. On the inner, Country Lover, who gets up to be second. There may have been some skirmishing behind, but this filly, with a clear run from 3 out, has won in great style. Now, where might there have been interference? Backgammon there is badly squeezed as Old Hickory made his run, and that gap between Old Hickory and Danger Point evaporated very quickly. No doubt there was interference there to Backgammon. And Old Hickory now enclosed behind the winner, and Ragsat Al Omar has no room there. But the interference has happened, and whether it's of any great consequence, because Old Hickory doesn't run on to be in the first 3. The Country Lover's just drifted a little bit away from the rails there, as you can see, and the winner has drifted across from the outside. But the winner was clear when she did it.
Frustration. 3-year-old filly by Sals, out of Baffle by Patingo, the 5-to-1 winner in completing this marvellous 4-timer. Winner of 4 of her 7 races now. Being greeted by Lady Herries, her stable's in marvellous form. And what a delight this will be for the locals. Train just adjacent to this lovely course. Little sister not quite capable of giving Lord Weinstock a 70th birthday present. In fact, obviously unaware of her responsibilities, she actually finished last. The starting prices as follows.
First, number 5, Frustration, 5 to 1. Second, number 7, Country Lover, 7 to 2 favourite. And third, number 6, Ragsat a la Moa, 8 to 1. The 250 at Thirsk went to number 3, Northern Influence, 11 to 4. Second, number 1, Monkey Adele, 6 to 1. And third, number 5, Westcourt Princess, also 6 to 1. 6 ran.
She won a first handicap of 66, and now she's won off 98, which is 88, I should say, which is a measure of her improvement in the way she's maintained her form, despite being charged for each successive success quite considerably. 1.5 lengths in the same, the official margin. Possibly slightly unlucky in running, the runner-up, Country Lover, with just a little bit more luck. She'd have given this filly, or he'd have given this filly quite a bit more to do, I think. Here's Jonathan again.
From here, you'll be with me, Lady Herries, very jubilant after that. 4th win in a row for your filly. She certainly is improving.
Yes, she's improving very fast. But we were frightened of the ground today.
It is pretty firm, but I must say it didn't seem to inconvenience her.
David said she didn't quicken up as she can do on the ground. She took time and then she quickened. But she's done it very well.
Certainly has. Did she show you much as a 2-year-old? Because her improvement this season has been phenomenal.
She was always nice as a 2-year-old, yes. But we always thought she'd be, quite good. But we don't have that many horses to try them with.
And a winner in the very famous Norfolk colours of your mother.
Yeah, sadly she's not able to go racing anymore. But I wish she was here.
I think we get a chance to see the finish again. There is a bit of argy-bargy on the inside, but David Harrison brings your filly on the outside. I'm afraid that
that's all right, I can see.
Special. She certainly just seems to be a step ahead of the handicapper. Here she comes now on the outside.
Yes.
And the favourite Country Lover rather trapped on the rails with the noseband.
Yeah.
So happily you get first run.
Well, Lord Huntingdon said that Michael Roberts was to track us. And he went inside and we came outside. So.
And it might have made the difference because Country Lover comes with quite a strong challenge in the last furlong.
But she just keeps going. So.
Well, it's a happy sight for you, and for a moment the other day it looked as though Joao was going to do the same at the end of the Sweps Golden Mile, but he didn't quite get there. What's the news of him?
He was very lame after the race. They thought he might have cracked a fetlock joint, but there are no signs on any x-rays. He's been operated on this morning for exploratory sort of look, and there's nothing. We'll just have to hope that, it isn't anything much. He's much better this morning.
It's a pretty brave run in the circumstances to finish a close third.
He did. Yeah.
Do you think, in hindsight, that Jimmy Quinn perhaps should have taken a view and stood himself down?
He should not have ridden. The doctor passed him, and no, he shouldn't have ridden.
And the doctor stood him down afterwards, of course.
Yes.
But that's with hindsight. He did ride the horse, and they very nearly won it, despite his injury and the horse's injury.
Yeah. It was a difficult decision for us. The owner very, very nearly went to the stewards and said, I don't want Jimmy to ride. But,
There we are. As we say, it's history.
It's history.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, sadly, all water under the bridge now. Well, now in about 10 minutes' time, the new national hunt season will start at Bangor-on-Dee after a break of just 8 weeks since June the 4th. And, of course, next year there won't be any sort of break at all. There's never been a race for the jockey's title like last season's. It was quite incredible. Jonathan Powell now takes a look back at last season and a look ahead.
All season, for 10 enthralling months, Adrian Maguire and Richard Dunwoody fought a titanic duel for the jockey's crown. It was Maguire who took the Daily Express Triumph Hurdle with a typically aggressive ride on Mysilv.
Myself lands in the lead at the last. It's Myself, the leader from Moorish, putting in a run under Declan Murphy, but Myself is holding them all as they race up towards the line. Myself is going to win the Daily Express Triumph Hurdle. Myself is the winner. Second is Moorish. Third is Shirley's Delight.
And Maguire on Fired Earth just prevailed over Dunwoody on Lynch Law in an epic finish at Cheltenham in April. Head-to-head, toe-to-toe, the two great jockeys offered thrilling evidence of all that is best in jump racing. Dunwoody, the champion, gained his 1,000th success on the jaunty mare Flaky Dove in January.
It's Flaky Dove with Richard Dunwoody is going to ride his 1,000th winner in Great Britain. Drawing away, it's Flaky Dove who goes on to score here by 5 lengths.
But the champion's greatest moment came on Minnehoma in the Grand National.
It's Minnehoma now from Just So. Minnehoma was Just So putting in a tremendous challenge towards the near side. Minnehoma and Just So as they race towards the line. Minnehoma is going to win the National from Just So. Minnehoma has won it. Just So is second and third is Moorcroft Boy.
Dunwoody claimed the title again with a superb late charge, but both men were honoured at a ceremony at Galway in the week. We caught up with the new champion jumps trainer David Nicholson on a rare visit to Goodwood. David Nicholson, champion jumps trainer, how does it feel?
It feels good. I mean, it was nice to get there. The thing is, we've got to try and keep going and get there again. But it won't be at the expense of the horse, I promise you that.
How many would you have back in now at Jackdaws Castle, David?
We've got 65 at present. We look as though we should have 80 plus.
You've lost one of your main contributors, Myself, your contributors to last season. She was sold at Doncaster for a record price. How disappointed were you to lose her, David?
We were all very disappointed. Most importantly, the girl that did a Jill Wormwell. It's always sad to lose a superstar. She did her job superbly, and I genuinely hope she goes on and does as well for them as she did for us. We shall just now have to get on and try and replace her.
And that famous day that she won the Daily Express Triumph Hurdle, what do you recall of that?
I could say not a lot, couldn't I? I was stood down at the last hurdle and I thought, well, they were queued up behind her, and she out-galloped them, outstayed them, out-jumped them. It was a fantastic day. We had a very nice fresh import yesterday, totally out of the blue, Dubacilla. Surprised you, let alone anybody else. Delighted to have her. Hopefully she'll have one run Hennessy and we'll play it by ear from there.
And finally, David, the game rolls on, and now next year there will be jump racing throughout the summer. Several selected courses who water will be allowed to race throughout the summer next year. What do you think of that idea?
I mean, this weekend will be the telling time whether it's feasible or not. I'm in favour, providing they can provide genuine good to firm ground. And if we don't get genuine good to firm ground at Newton Abbot, Bangor, Stroke Market Raising this weekend, they can't do it. We've had a dry summer, we'll have another dry summer, no doubt. But they've got to be prepared and able to do it when we want it, and we've got to have it. National Hunt horses can't be running on rock-hard ground. There's nothing to stand that, despite what few people think.
The outspoken champion trainer David Nicholson there, and his annual open day at Jackdaws Castle, which is near Stow-on-the-Wold in Gloucestershire. That's on Sunday, August the 21st this year, and the gates are open from 9:30 to 4:30. It's a wonderful day, it gets up to 10,000 people there. It's all in aid of charity. We're now back to the big race of today here at Goodwood, the Eurolink Spitfire Handicap. Presentation's about to take place, and Jim McGrath is going to describe it.
Thank you, Julian. The presentation now of this trophy for the Eurolink Spitfire Handicap about to take place now. We've seen a wonderful win by Frustration, who's now strung together 4 successive victories and must rank as arguably the most improved middle distance handicapper of the season. She's rapidly climbed up the scale. I did think that the handicapper might have just got hold of her, but here she is. She's won today. And now the presentation being made by Mrs. Sue Dunlop, wife of trainer John, to Lady Mary Mumford, who's a daughter of the owner Lavinia, the Duchess of Norfolk, and also a sister of the winning trainer Lady Herries. A wonderful family win by Frustration here today. And Frustration
the sponsors are very generously given
also bred by her owner.
mementos of this occasion for presentation to the winning.
And now the presentation being made to the winning trainer Lady Herries, who's done exceptionally well with, particularly with her stayers. She had 2 runners in the Goodwood Cup this week. Castle Courageous, who finished 5th, owned by her sister, Lady Mary Mumford. There's Lady Herries accepting her trophy from Sue Dunlop. The other one, Meant to Be, finished 2nd last in that big field, but there's some very nice stayers there in that yard. And David Harrison is the winning jockey. He's been aboard those 4 wins which have been recorded at Goodwood earlier this season. This is Frustration's 4 wins. Also at Newbury, at Kempton, and today back at Goodwood. So 4 straight for David Harrison, and obviously this filly he holds in some affection. David Harrison, the winning jockey, having won aboard Frustration and having collected the trophies now for the Eurolink Spitfire Handicap of 1994.
Another lovely summer day at Goodwood. The crowd perhaps a little bit down on yesterday's 20,000 plus crowd, but they're really enjoying themselves in the sunshine, and they've started with 2 really good results. A hot favourite in the first, and although Frustration drifted in the market before the 2nd race because of the firm ground, there were plenty of people who will have backed the local filly. Plenty of money in the ring and plenty of faces too. Isn't that Paul Daniels? Yeah. He used to sponsor a race at Redcar. He's a great racing enthusiast. I wonder if he's conjured anything out of the hat. And the Caribbean boys are here. We've missed him this year. First time we've seen him. Seen him down at Newmarket in the July course in the evening. But, well, can't.
£1 cashback.